Okay, we are working on our Saturn Vue transmission. We had to order a new a secondary.
Primary.
Is this the primary?
That's the secondary.
Well, anyways, we had to order a new one of these things that had these bearings on these grooves.
Which is the primary.
And when the new one came in, it didn't have the plunger that goes in here. And if you look at some of the websites online, which we'll make a reference to, there's a plunger that goes in here, and there's a snap ring that goes on here. The other plate that goes on top of it is a spring-loaded plate that goes on there. So what you need to do is to come up with a format that you can push down the top spring-loaded disc so that you can put your snap rings on it, because you're not going to be able to do it by hand. So what we did was we built one, and here it is. This is what we're talking about. This plate here doesn't come in the new one. At least ours didn't, and we paid $400 for it. And the way you get this out of the old one, see this little hole here? It's got a little bearing in it. And what you do is, don't go crazy, but blow some air from an air compressor in there, and that will force that plunger out. This is that spring-loaded plate I was talking about, and you can see right in here, you have to push this down all the way to, and we can look on the old one, down to this right there. That's where the snap ring goes, and if you look on here, you can see that snap ring is in there pretty far. So, in addition to building a press, you have to buy this, and you can buy this online, and it's specifically designed, this open design, because once you get this compressed down to that snap ring, you need to have room to get this stuff in there. You can't do it with a closed socket. Sorry. Maybe somebody has a little bit more mechanical or skills. Maybe they can take a bigger socket and cut out a slot. A perfectly good socket that's going to cost you a fortune. We bought this online for $30, even though it's a one-time use thing for us, unless we find another Saturn. Really, it's a one-time use for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to press this down. Oh, before that, let me explain how we built this. We don't have any welding. Okay, what we want to do now is talk about how we fabricated this. We don't have any welding machines, and we don't know how to weld. So what we did was just take a 2x6, and then we drilled a 2-inch hole with a hole cutter so that we could slide this down. Maybe you can get a look underneath there. And we just used a hole saw, put a 2-inch hole so this lays flush against the 2x4.
And that's the primary variator.
Yeah. And here it is again. And what we do is slide it down in that hole, because you need to somehow to keep that level. Then we just got some 3/8 all thread, which are here. And we didn't cut them because don't need to cut them. Stick it in a vise and put a nut and a washer on both sides to keep this tight. Same thing on this side. And we came out I think about 7 inches. But what you can do is measure the distance, and I think this was a 6.5. Yeah, about a 6.5. So we came out about 7.5. Give yourself a little room to work. And we just got a plate Now this one is kind of thin. It's, oof, I don't even know what, maybe a 16. We stuck a block of wood under here so that we wouldn't screw up our $30 piece. And put a level on here. First of all, make sure that this is level here. So you're working with two levels. Make sure that your block is level in the vise, and then put this up here. And what you do is turn these down evenly, one turn at a time. And this will push down this spring loaded, and it's a stiff spring until you get down to your groove where you're going to put in your washer and where you're going to put in your snap ring. So we'll get back to you, and so you can see what it looks like when we get down to there. Okay. Okay, we're back. So as you can see, we're still level. I've turned this down probably as far as it needs to go. I don't know if you can see now. We have that opening right in here where my pencil is. You want to get it below that point so that we can stick that washer and that O-ring on there. I mean snap ring. So let me get that on there, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, we have the snap ring in and the washer. Of course, the washer goes first, and this, and you want to make sure that this snap ring is in there all the way around and it's tight. You still can spin it, but you don't want that thing popping off. And so now what we're going to do is I'll give you a couple of turns, and what we want to do is back it off just like we put it on. So we're going to take this thing and we're going to take it off one turn at a time. So that went on there tight. And when you get near the end, it's going to be pretty tight, but so be careful not to overextend. You bring it off a little at a time. Take your time, be patient. Have the patience of a Ronnie, because you don't want to mess anything up. You're so good so far, and you can see this thing is starting to pick up. And that's what keeps this loaded. I'll just call it a big washer without a better name for it. And I'll show you once we get it off and it holds this plate in. And give you a better view about what this little contraption looks like. Little at a time. Always checking your level. Make sure your level stays in the bubble. If you can think of a better way to do it, just do it. And we didn't cut these off because we really didn't need to cut those off. See, and you got a level. Bring these up. What I did was I used a thinner plate. So I put a wood under there to save our $30 piece. Put a wood and put an extra plate because these are pretty thin, but they're easier to drill through, so you can get your all thread in there. And we'll just show you as we take it apart what's going on now. You probably want to take these bolts, bring them up through the other way before you put your plate on. Just come right up. Here's your $30 piece. Your $30 piece. Even looks like it's got a little bit of wear on it. I don't know if it's brand new or what, but unfortunately, you need to have that. Now you can see right in here. Separate pieces, snap ring. You have this washer here. You got this loaded plate. I forgot to tell you, when you're putting this on, make sure it's all even around here. Okay, because this thing will go back and forth a little bit. And here's your plate down here. You got an O-ring right there. And I won't say that's it, because that was quite the ordeal to take that out. And there you go. And here's the plate. And here's the old one. And basically what we did, put this inside here, get that all level, put your plunger in. I think was there another washer that went under there? Well, anyways, when you take the other one apart, watch what you're doing. Then you put your spring-loaded plate, and you put this on top. Put your wood on there. Put your support, unless you use an 1/8 of an inch. Bring it down and do that. You can make it a little more sophisticated, but only got one Saturn. Okay, see you in a while.